Welcome back to MOMnation Unscripted. Now, a word from our sponsor.
Moms are always on the move, and the City of Mesa understands getting where you need to go quickly and safely isn't just a priority, it's an expectation. That's why we are proactive with our transportation plans. Check out the 2020 Transportation Bond Program at mesaaz.gov/Mesa Moves to learn about Mesa's plans to grow our roadways and bike paths, improve congestion, and make commuting safer for everyone.
Oh, hey!
Hey.
It feels like it's been 30 years since we've talked on here.
Together, yes. We missed you the last episode. How's everything going for you? Last we left you, you were like in the middle of, I always say it wrong, correct me. Prenda?
Yeah,
Did I say it
you
right?
said it right. You said it right.
Said it right today. But you were like right in the middle of it. And so how's that all going?
Yeah, so I finished my training and we started 3 weeks ago. And I feel like, you know the song, okay, I love musicals. I don't know if you love musicals the way that I love musicals, but did you ever see Annie?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so how there's, what's her name? Anyway, the lady that runs the orphanage, and she's like, some women are dripping in diamonds, you know, that whole song, I'm dripping in little girls. Yeah, that is my life right now. And if I have, I don't know, I feel like I'm going to have like a mental breakdown because I feel so mean all the time. But it's really just, I'm like, stop talking over me. Stop talking over each other. Stop talking over each other. Stop talking over each other. Listen to each other. Like the same thing on repeat. And I'm like, oh my gosh, these kids are gonna like need therapy. Like I've already got my kids needing therapy when they grow up. Now I have other people's kids needing therapy. But hey, it's probably better than them being at home because, let's admit it, everybody is stuck at home with their kids feeling a little frazzled. So then I also have people assuring me, no, it's not mean to tell children to stop talking over each other. So anyway, it's a little stressful.
Well, I know it's just not your personality to be like that. And so your text the other day to me was hilarious, well, to our little group about your first day when you were like, some kid, what was it? Some kid came up to you and said you weren't mean enough or something.
Yeah, she said her number one complaint was that I wasn't mean enough. And I was like, I don't really know how to be mean, but okay.
Like, how do you respond to that? I'll be meaner next time.
All right. Yeah. So it's been interesting. How have the last 3 weeks been for you?
Oh, girl. So, did I tell you about Arizona? That was a couple of weeks ago.
No.
Right, because we weren't together last week. So Arizona was great. If you haven't been, I highly suggest that you go. I highly suggest any mom in the state of Arizona or close. Amanda, you should take a road trip. I know that you're not in the state of Arizona, but it is worth it. Like, come down and go to this place. It's so cool.
You know what's ironic, Katie? So my husband just told the kids, like, you know what? Mommy doesn't have crazy clients this year. So we should go back to Flagstaff. This is what he tells our kids. So we should go back to Flagstaff, and then we could actually have a vacation up there. And Autumn walks up to me just yesterday, and she goes, I hope we go to Arizona. And so anyway, this is like the universe coming and being like, yes, you should go to Arizona. So
You should.
Anyway, the universe, Autumn, and Katie all are Arizona fans. So
It's fun. You sit in the car, you can totally social distance, so we good. You sit in the car, you drive through these different sections, and they've got different animals in these sections. Like the bear section and the wolf section, you're not allowed to have your window open because it's nice up there. So you want to, have your window open and stuff. But it was cool. My son loved it, didn't mind driving slow through the park for a little while because, they can get a little antsy. We saw tons of bear, different kinds of bear. A couple of little wolf pack is in one of the sections, and they're so pretty and they look so cute and cuddly. Like you want to just open your door and reach out and give them a big hug, but no. So we had wolves that would walk in front of our car and just all around. So they're very out and about. There's buffalo, all sorts of like deer and stuff like that. They're probably not really deer. That's where I come from. We have elk here, right? It's not really deer.
I come from where you come from, so we call them some sort of deer. Yes. I think that's their official name.
Yes, deer lookalikes. And then you can park, and they have a little area where you can go check out some other animal exhibits, like the bald eagle was very fascinating for I was going to say my family, but it's really just me. They ditched me at the bald eagle. Like, apparently I stayed too long. I look around, all of a sudden, family gone. But it was really nice, and it's, you can picnic and do all that stuff. It's just nice to get out in nature.
Last time I was there, I was sitting there, and all of a sudden I had an ovarian cyst rupture as I was walking along, and I just found a bench, and I was blacking out, just in so much pain. And I was like, you guys go see something. I'm just going to stay here and die.
Oh,
so
dear.
I have a little rough relationship with Arizona, but I know that in Idaho, they have something similar, Bear World. So
your world of Yellowstone. And it sounds actually very, very similar, but our attraction probably isn't as exquisite because it is Idaho.
Arizona's better. I will say that.
Yeah, they have so many bears, and it's a drive-through to see all the animals. And I have a funny story. This happened 3 days ago. My husband was showing me a picture of a deer buck, and he asked me, he's like, is this an elk or a buck? And I'm like, it's a deer. So, because I could tell with the tail and the type of horns, or no, he had asked if it was like a moose or an elk or something. And I was schooled that an elk is not the same as a deer buck. And I'm like, I didn't know there was a difference. It definitely wasn't a moose, though.
Well, he would be really impressed by Katie and I's lingo for this. A deer-like animal.
Yeah.
Look-alike,
Deer look-alike.
So
know the difference.
Right? Who does? But you learned it here now, folks. So be very grateful for this conversation now that you know the difference.
You're welcome.
Right? So then I have really good news, Beth. So you know that recently the Lamb Fam, that's what I call my family, by the way, Amanda. The Lamb Fam bought a boat. So exciting for the Lamb Fam. Mm-hmm. I've been on it once. The rest of the Lamb Fam has been on it more than once, but hey, who's counting? We just found out today that we got a slip, and I want to say Swaro. So, yeah.
And what is a slip?
Okay, so a slip is where you put your boat in the water, and you have your own little dock where your boat stays, so you don't have to truck it back and forth, from home and whenever you want to go boating. So it literally saves 2 hours worth of work and monkeying around trying to put the boat in the water and take the boat out of the water and all of that. So basically, Beth, whenever we want, I can come swing by, kidnap you, go to the boat, and we don't need boys.
So what I'm hearing is that when I want to get away from civilization, from humans, and I want to talk to nobody, you're who I hit up.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I'm in.
We'll go talk to the bald eagles and do some fishing.
That's my jam. Well, I will sit there and I'll hold the fishing rod. I just hope I don't catch one. I just won't even put anything on my hook, but I'll sit there and I'll reel it in. I'm all about that.
Perfect. That'll be your job. You can be in charge of the cooler.
And I will hold the White Claws and make sure they stay cold. So,
well, you'll need to, because the driver of the boat isn't allowed to have anything to do with that. So driver of the boat has to be cool.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. All right.
But you're good.
Yeah. I will take care of the White Claws. So
they won't get lonely with Beth around. It's cool.
No, they won't. We'll have Jenny, and she and I can enjoy our White Claws. So, that's really funny. I had just posted on Facebook this week, and I had said, if you were to have a corporate sponsor for your brand, who would the corporate sponsor be? And I said mine would be Oreos. And then this morning I was thinking, no, mine would probably be White Claw, if we're being honest. They're in every single one of my photos with when I go get my hair done. So, and that's all because of you, Katie. I never would have known.
Hey, you know what? I aim to please over here.
Yeah, well, thank you. You succeed. So.
Perfect. So we both know Amanda, but I don't know if everybody else knows Amanda.
I don't know. So, Amanda, I've known Amanda for a very long time. I've known Amanda longer than I've known my husband. And so I'm going to let Amanda introduce herself, and then I might interject with some other thoughts along the way here.
Alrighty. Hey, everybody. I am Amanda Woodbury. And just like Beth said, I have known her for a very long time. She's one of my faves. And Katie, I think we've only known each other for a couple of years.
About that.
And I love chatting with both of you ladies. You guys are awesome. So I am a mindset and crochet coach. That's what I do. So let's start with, what is a mindset coach for one? Well, the way I do it and the way I explain it is a little bit different. I'm not a mainstream mindset coach. So I don't go talk on stages. I don't make you think of just be positive and life is good. I actually go in and help you where your life is at now. We set goals. We work through anything that is getting in your way and holding you back from the life that you want and deserve to have. So everybody, it's at different levels. Sometimes it's a little bit deeper. Sometimes it's not. So we just really it's like talking to your best friend. Like we just sit there and chat, and I help you through whatever is on your mind. And so it's a calmer, less aggressive mindset coaching.
And how do you help people with that? You mentioned like you're talking like with your best friend, but what tools and what strategies do you use to help?
So I actually help you hack into your creative brain by teaching you how to crochet, because when you crochet, it gets you into a repetitive motion that puts you in a forced meditation, which helps your thoughts come clearer and helps you organize your emotions and helps you just clear some of that negativity out a little bit better.
So it's funny because the first person in my family to crochet was my oldest sister. And then I learned from Amanda, and then my little sister learned from Amanda. And then now my older sister is learning from Amanda. So there are 4 of us in our family, and 3 out of 4 of us all 4 of us use crochet to chill out. But 3 of us have learned or are learning from Amanda. So,
and I think it's legit. And it's not even something, it's just a coincidence. Like, it's just how it's happened. Like, this is like the first experience ever where I have my current and past clients all related to each other. Like, it is the funnest experience ever. They're all completely different, and you all learn in different styles, in different ways, and different speeds. And the language I use with each of you are completely different.
And it's funny because my sister, Megan, she went and she bought like all of your patterns or something recently. And like with me, I'm always like, okay, teach me something I don't have to read a pattern for. Something where did you see her eyes roll there, Katie? Oh,
I didn't catch that.
I saw that, Amanda. Like, teach me something where I can just zone out. And she has thoughts on this. I can read a pattern, guys. Let me say that. I can read it. I just prefer not to. Tell me about why that's a bad thing, because I can see it written all over your face.
Oh my gosh. Because I'm trying to think of ways to say it kindly.
Just
Okay.
call it out. Just call it out.
Okay. So if you don't search out projects that are a little bit more challenging for you, you're going to get stuck in a boring bubble, and you're literally you are holding yourself back by only doing things that are simple, which is amazing for meditative purposes, which is totally amazing for your mindset. But in order for you to grow and see those accomplishments and look back and say, oh my gosh, I did that, and that looked hard at first, when you read a pattern, it just brings in so many more positive things to your brain and your emotions, and holding yourself back is just not fun. And
Okay, so let's take it outside of the crochet. Like, why is it important that I learn to do the uncomfortable things in crochet then?
Because in life you're going to run into a lot of uncomfortable things, and you need to be able to be like, yes, I can do that. I can believe in myself. And then again, when you're older and you look back in your life and you say, you know what, I did believe in myself and I took that risk, and I didn't take the boring route, and look what I accomplished.
So, Katie, do you have a question?
I like this, and I'm trying to picture myself. So I haven't learned crochet. I'm not one of the ones, so maybe I need to. But I'm trying to picture myself crocheting and doing easy stuff and thinking, my mind, I think, and maybe it's wrong, but my mind's still going to race if I'm not challenging it with learning something new. Am I inaccurate? I feel like that would be me.
You would think.
Yeah.
You would think. I'll let Amanda talk about it, but you would think.
So the way I teach it and how I teach you to utilize crochet is the best type of pattern to work if you want to intentionally do mindset work, like a meditation session, where a journaling session. The simplest and very basic projects are golden for that. But they also get boring. So when you crochet and you are crocheting something very intricate that has a lot of pattern repeats, you are concentrating more on your project and what your stitch count is and making sure the pattern still lines up. You're still getting it's maybe not as intense, but you're still getting that self-concentration. And I've seen that with myself, because as I've been growing my coaching program, I have been including more difficult patterns. And as a pattern designer and author, I'm starting to write harder and more complicated patterns. And I still feel those mindset benefits, even though, yeah, I am concentrating on all the intricacies of it. I still find myself in that repetitive motion of that stitch work. And next thing I know, I catch myself and I'm like, oh, I need to count this round or row, whatever. And then I was like, wait, what was I thinking about? I was like, oh my gosh, I totally just remembered 10 things on my grocery list that I was going to forget. And so it's not as strong the more complicated your pattern gets because of the amount of concentration you need. So the easier ones are good for intentional mindset work.
So
that was a very long answer.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so it's interesting because one of the things that I've found is that even if I'm using like a really repetitive stitch and pattern that I can do without thinking, it's a forced meditation. And so like I struggle, like people like you and me, Katie, we struggle with meditation usually. Like maybe we can do it, but then we like I can turn my brain off. I can have it be silent in there. I can have nothing happen. can do that instantly. And I also end up having anxiety about, okay, well, what did I just spend 50 minutes doing right afterward?
Right.
Whereas with this, you're able to get your brain into that same headspace without the weird guilt afterward that like, oh, I did nothing. No, I made a blanket that, you know, my kid's going to be able to enjoy for the rest of their life or whatever. So
I love that, because accomplishment, I feel like, is a huge piece in, tell me, Amanda, if I'm right, accomplishment and feeling satisfied is a huge piece in mindset and that kind of thing. So I can see how actually creating something, Beth, does alleviate that worry, or, wow, I just spent 20 minutes doing what, you know, because I run into that too. You know, heaven forbid I sit for 10 minutes.
Well, and you guys both know that I really like to analyze psychology behind why certain things work and certain things do certain things. So one thing to know, and you both would know this, but it would be interesting for our listeners, is that when we think about the brain, there's the neurons and there's neural pathways in our brains. And if you can create a certain activity that your brain is not used to and not comfortable doing with something like crochet, then your brain actually will be more comfortable doing that same type of activity, like going outside of your comfort zone, like thinking creatively, like doing something monotonous over and over and over. Your brain gets more comfortable with these activities that crochet inherently is designed with. Like, you can't crochet without doing these things. But these are the things that then set you up to be more successful in different areas of your life. They set you up for your business, for patience with your kids, for just learning to think in more creative and different ways than you've allowed yourself to before. So anyway,
that's fascinating. So Amanda, how did you figure that all out? And how did you get started with this?
Accidentally. Because this, when I first started learning how to crochet, I was a stay-at-home mom, a new stay-at-home mom. And I was constantly a worker. Like, I always had a job. And when it got to the point to where I needed to be staying home with my two boys because daycare was going to cost way, way, way too much. And then I got bored because my boys are independent. Even though as tiny and young as they were, I literally felt myself losing who I was. And I didn't know who I was. And I didn't know my purpose in life anymore. And I got so bored, I decided to do the one thing that I hate the most: cleaning old crap. So I had this old hope chest that my mom gave me, and I took everything out and I was organizing it. And I found this old, dingy, stinky garbage bag from a million years ago. And I was going through it and I found these amazing doilies, these works of art. And I was like, oh my gosh, what is this? So I did my research, found out it was crochet, did what millions of thousands, probably not millions, of women do today, is they find crochet, they get introduced to it, they go to YouTube, and I self-taught on YouTube, and it was an experience. Yes, I successfully learned a lot, but it was an awful experience. I didn't feel confident. It didn't really help me do anything other than learning a few things here and there. However, I naturally just took to it and I got it really easily. And then I started really digging my heels in and just got obsessed with it and started learning things appropriately. And then I started sharing it and telling everybody, hey guys, I'm much happier. I think it's because of crochet. I'm not sure. Check out this stuff. And then when I started selling it, people started buying it. That made me feel happy and accepted, and my confidence started growing, and it was amazing. So then I started researching, like, okay, what's the connection? Does crochet have, what is it related to my changes of, becoming a happier, better person? And so then I just was in crochet groups. And so I just literally asked the question, what does crochet do for you? Why do you crochet? And I got thousands of responses of stress relief, anxiety relief, builds my confidence, higher my self-esteem, helps me love my family more. It makes it to where I don't want to punch people in the face. I mean, there was so many responses, and I was just reading through all, and I'm like, yes, I feel that too. Yes, yes. And I was just like, oh my gosh. And so I started sharing it, and everyone just thought that I was just sharing it because I'm a crochet obsessed lady. And then I was like, you know what? Had an opportunity to start teaching it, didn't believe in myself, didn't think I was good enough. And so then I was like, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this appropriately. I'm going to do this the right way. So I went through 2 years of certification to become an actually nationally certified crochet instructor, and learned a lot more during that experience about my own crochet. Corrected a lot of mistakes I learned from YouTube. And then I started teaching it. And as I started getting those clients like Beth, that's when I discovered, holy crap, crochet really does save lives. And it really helps in the mindset. And it's not just something old women do because they're bored, because it helps so many people in so many different levels.
It's something old women do because they know they know the secrets of life. That's why old women do it.
Yeah.
Right. Here's something we missed though, Amanda, we should totally hit this at the introduction. I'm so sorry I failed you here. But Amanda, you mentioned that you've gone through like 2 years of certification, but you actually have some legit stuff when it comes to crochet and business. So tell us about like the businesses you own and the things that you just go there. Just go there. Let's tell people how awesome you are.
Okay, so I started my business originally as Amanda's Cute Crochet. I actually just added the word designs to the end of that because I am a pattern author. So that's where it all started. And then when I started the mindset coaching, I now have Unravel Your Stress. And then recently, I'm also getting into business coaching other yarn industry entrepreneurs. We call it the Yarnpreneur Academy. And I just took this on earlier this month, and I'm so freaking excited. So I just have to share this. I'm sorry, Katie, but
no, do.
If there's anybody out there that's a crocheter or knitter and they're just starting out their hobby business, please come hang out with us over at Yarnpreneur Society, because you're going to get so many business tips, and it's so fun.
Yeah, it's been so fun seeing you like be able to step into that, and seeing guys, like if I could help you guys to understand who Amanda and I were when I met you, I don't know, was it 13 years ago, something like that?
I mean,
I know, we're so old. But not that old.
Right.
So like we were working in a telemarketing call center, and to see that, Amanda's somebody that she just bought a business, right? Like that's so freaking awesome. So freaking awesome just to see what's possible. And I love that crochet has been such a significant part of your journey, which brings me to the question of, like, you've moved from being a small town Idaho girl who worked in a call center, and you had little babies and were struggling to just kind of find yourself, to being somebody who owns multiple businesses and works with entrepreneurs and writes patterns and does like all of these things. Like you are writing a book. You're writing a book as well.
Oh my gosh, I almost forgot to mention I'm also writing a book. I don't know. I have a big plate, and it's pretty full. I keep adding to it. It's like Thanksgiving dinner, just add layers. It'll fit.
So the question becomes then, like, how has the things that crochet taught you about yourself, How has that helped you to transform your life into being the woman you are now?
That's my question too.
Oh my gosh. So it took a long time for me to really get to where I am now. And I'm still working on it. Like, I'm still a work in progress. I am not done. I am still working on how to work my daily schedule to make sure I give everything, every business that I have my finger in, I'm also run MOMnation Idaho. So, I make sure everything has at least a little bit of attention every day. And really that is scheduling my days with priority, making sure I take the time to unravel at the end of the day. Like, I don't work after 5 p.m. That's it. That's when I have to start making dinner and go and put my mom hat back on. And that's when I sit down and I just release all that day's tension, everything that any tech issue that popped up, I have had people questioning my authority as a business owner.
Oh.
And especially taking on Yarnpreneur Academy. And because I went from somebody, and it didn't really surprise me that I was getting questioned, because from their point of view, this business was created by somebody who's really big in the industry, was taken over by somebody who was even bigger in the industry, and now I'm someone that was in there as just like a regular member. Like, they didn't know who I am. They don't know me personally. They haven't watched my journey. And so then I'm just like this person that's all of a sudden out of nowhere, because there was no pre-announcement. The group had actually went dormant and there was no activity for months in the group itself. And then all of a sudden, here's this strange woman popping up saying, hey guys, I'm going to help you build your business that you love, without any experience, like shown any value that I'd put into the group before. And so having Crochet help me learn who I am and learn how to take negativity, learn how to cope with that, be able to stand my ground and say, hey, if you have any questions, please reach out. I'm definitely willing to share my experience with you. And that's what I did. I said, hey, I understand, where you're coming from. Do you have any questions that I can help answer for you and help this transition be easier for you? And next thing I know, they're on board. They're just like, hey, this is cool. You're awesome. I'm like, yeah, I know.
Yeah, your willingness to serve is amazing. And I think that's the most amazing part of this. I texted, so Amanda's in the process of getting published with, I won't say it because I know it's not out there yet, but she's in the process of getting published with someone legit. And so one of the things that was really interesting about that process is I texted my best friend and I was like, oh my gosh, Amanda's getting published here. And my friend was just like, she deserves it. She has shown up every single day. She has worked so hard. She sticks it out. She is the most consistent person I know. Like, she is just always there and always on brand, always on message, always saying the things that she believes. And so it's been so incredible just seeing this, it's like, they always talk about how the seed is dormant underground for a long time, and then all of a sudden you see it, and it's like, oh, overnight success. But these people who haven't seen the 5 years of you working on this before this moment, that's significant. And I just wish everybody could witness something like that. So I do have a question, unless you have a commentary on that.
Well, I think everybody has the ability.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, honestly, the journey that you followed and the self-esteem boost and all of that got you to where you are today. And I see any mom in any situation that's, you know, stuck at home with the kids feeling like they've lost themselves, I feel like any mom can do that. Like, I'm not saying you aren't wonderful. I feel like you're 100% wonderful. I have goosebumps all over when Beth was talking about your accomplishments. And so I'm not calling you just any person, but I feel like it's achievable for people, and they don't realize that.
Yeah. And that's honestly one of the main reasons why when Yearnpreneur was offered to me, I couldn't say no, because not only do I have the personal experience of building this business from nothing, you know, I can walk into a business and that's already set up, the audience is there, everything is there, and just say, hey, I know what you guys are going through. I've been there. I know what to expect. I know the hurdles that you're going to be coming through. And then I can offer my mindset coaching for them from a business point of view as well, and say, look, and you know, I'm going to be putting more content in there and just being like, look, you're not going to be an overnight success. So get that idea out of your head. You're going to have to put your head down and focus on your work and why you're even doing this in the first place. Love yourself enough to run with it, to believe in it, and then go do it. And your success is just going to rise. And one of the other things I wanted to mention was when Beth and I were talking about, when she first mentioned, how about writing a book? I was like, instant, like, blank face. I was like, I'm not enough. No.
I was like, I think you're ready. I think you're ready. Just go write it.
This is scary. And one of the things that was funny about that was I was like running up through all those things. I was like, oh my gosh, I'd have to get published. Where would I get published? How do I even write a book? And then she's like, you've published 10 patterns. You know what you're doing. It's like, oh yeah, I do. So,
yeah, totally. And so one of the things that's interesting is I'm getting ready to work with Amanda for round 2. So I'll tell you guys in a minute about what round 1 was like. But it's interesting. I was feeling, I've been a little stressed lately, guys. I don't know if you caught that from the beginning of this episode. I'm a little stressed, I'm a little on edge. As my child drives the chair behind me while we're on the podcast. No big. But
Mom life.
I've actually like had, just in the last couple of days, I've been so stressed that at the end of the day, I like have hives on my arms and I'm super itchy and stressed. And I'm like, okay, this is the line, right? And so it's had me thinking, Amanda, about like, what are some of the things that show up when a woman comes and she's like working with you? Of course, you wish she was coming and working with you before she got to that point.
Yeah.
But what have you seen has been that point for a woman where she's like, all right, I got to do something about this. It's time.
Well, first of all, I go into it listening. Before I even tell you what to do, I come in and I listen. I take notes. I let you tell me exactly what you're struggling with. Get anything off your chest. Because sometimes some women, some wives, moms need a vent. And sometimes you have to let that volcano explode before you can calm it down, right?
And what kinds of things are women exploding? What is this volcano? What's erupting?
There's so many different variables on that, because it could be just motherhood. It could be spousehood. It could be the current events right now that are crazy. It could be
Homeschooling.
a tragedy has happened in her life, and you know, she's just trying to be alive and doesn't have a clear path out of that dark tunnel, and just needs somebody to hold that torch for them and guide them through that. So there's a lot of variation there. So yeah, usually at first I just listen, and then I can go in and evaluate and be like, okay, this is the path I need to take with this person. If it's somebody that are just throwing out excuses, after excuses, be like, I feel like crap. I feel like a horrible mom because of this, this, and this. And it's like, okay, so you're not doing anything. You're not telling me any goals you want to reach to get there. So sometimes I might have to actually put my foot down and be like, okay, so you need accountability. You need a little bit of tough love. You need somebody to hold your hand while we guide through this. And usually it does end up being a little bit deeper layers under those ones. Usually I can peel back some of those layers and get to, okay, so maybe there's some limiting beliefs, some typical mindset work there, the limiting beliefs. Okay, let's get over that. Let's work through that. Let's move on and work the next one. So really, it's very, very intimate and very personalized.
I love that. And what have you seen happens for these women over the course of the weeks as they learn to crochet or they get better at crocheting?
I'm sorry, you're gonna have to ask that one again.
Over the course of the weeks that these women work with you, what's the transformation that you see?
Oh my gosh, it's comparable to watching a butterfly come out of their cocoon. Like, oh my gosh, like there's been a client of mine who dealt with a lot of anxiety, and she was very scared to even reach out and get out of her comfort zone. And you know who I'm talking about, probably Beth. And one of the things that was one of my favorite things to watch was her transformation. And by the end of, she had done the 12-week program. By the end of that, not only was she starting to be active in a mom group, she was setting up wanting to go meet other moms and to actually be sociable. And I was helping her. She was really anxious about how to even introduce herself to people she's never met before. And so I helped her cope through that. We actually did an exercise where I had found a couple of my close friends that I could trust in the moment, and we did a Zoom call, and it literally was a social experience for her. Be like, okay, we're going to have a hangout. We're just going to sit and chill and just tell us a little bit about you. And I had to guide, like when it was kind of starting to get a little bit quiet, nobody was talking, I'd pop in and be like, ask a question that everybody can take turns answering. And so watching that transformation, and any transformation like that, go from somebody who's also thinks that maybe they're an introvert, and by the end they realize they're an extrovert and they've just been holding themselves back, that transformations like that is just, it just makes my heart so happy at the end of the day.
That's incredible. So now she's connecting, because that was my next question. So you had mentioned when we talked earlier, hey, creativity really can help, grow bonds with those that you love. So that was going to be my question. Let's talk about how that works. And Beth is just so good at the transition. She doesn't even know it. Well, maybe she does. She could probably read my mind. But that was a great, a great story about this woman with no connections or very little connections now, feeling comfortable enough in her own skin to make these connections. What are some other examples that you have?
Well, I'm still working on this myself because we are all works in progress. So 2020 has been a hot mess, especially when it comes to social. We're all being forced to live with ourselves and our loved ones. And this has been the best experience in proving my theory that crochet will help you connect with those you love. Because there's a lot of memes out there that make fun of, that are kind of tapping into the make it look funny, but things like, I crochet so I don't punch people in the face, or, things of that nature. And basically what happens is, if you think about it from this point of view, when you crochet, you are improving on yourself. You're starting to feel that self-love, right? So when you love yourself and you accept yourself for who you are, and you have the confidence to set boundaries with those you love, and there's that mutual respect, you're going to have less irritability with them. You're going to be picking less fights with them. You're going to want to spend actual quality time with them. And if you're a gift giver, or if your love language is to receive gifts, then crocheting can also encourage that behavior as well. I have a child who absolutely loves gift giving. And so I will randomly make him a hat and just be like, hey, buddy, this is for you. That's all that is needed. And then next thing I know, I'm getting a hug out of nowhere, and I love you, mommy. And that just melts my heart. And, you know, it just definitely gets energy out too. So if you have a day where you've had maybe a rough day, you can get some of that negative energy out. And by the end of the day, husband relations, let's tap on that. Then you have enough energy. You might want to
or that. So everybody's happy.
Everybody.
So there's just so many different layers to it. And that's the thing too, is there's such a huge ripple effect too, because everybody knows that happiness is contagious. So when you're happy and you're willing to help other people in their happiness, as in just generally being a nice person and not wanting to punch them in the face, then they're going to be happy and nicer to the next person and the next person and the next person. And so that ripple effect is just so huge, and it just keeps growing.
So it's interesting, especially relating back to what you were talking about earlier about needing to choose patterns that are actually challenging and blah, blah, blah. My husband's reading a book right now called Reality is Broken. And it's about how gamification is, and video games and whatnot actually make us happier, which is really interesting. But they talk about, because reality is so mundane, we aren't faced with challenges. We don't have a challenge. We want to go buy fruit, we go to the grocery store. We don't have to go out into the forest and find fruit anymore.
Right.
Our brains aren't stimulated the way that the human brain is designed to be stimulated. And so I just think about, they talk in this book about how if you're not facing difficult things, if you're not overcoming obstacles, you actually get unhappy. And so the things that we, joke around and say should make us, we'll say, oh, I'm just going to go binge Netflix. Well, they did the study where they sent out texts periodically, and they would ask, hey, what are you doing right now? And how do you feel? And when people were doing things like, watching Netflix or scrolling Facebook or whatever, they reported that they were unhappy most of the time. And so when they did things that were challenging, they actually reported happiness. And so when you're in this space where you're learning a new skill, when you're in this space where you're learning to do things harder or you're learning to do things better, you're actually putting yourself into a space where you're happy. And there's the saying, if mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy, right?
Right.
It's true. It's true.
Right.
And this is a way for us to be able to make mama happy, and genuinely happy. Not, I will tell you, I love watching my true crime. And when I get into that cycle of I'm watching like a bunch of stories that I already know, that there's no work for my brain to do, I get into a weird funk and I don't feel happy. And so anyway, that's just so interesting to me to consider when it comes to crochet, is that like, no, it is hard, and it is mundane, and it is something that like you have to learn new skills constantly to be able to make something meaningful or make something more beautiful. And anyway, you guys know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah. Well, it makes so much sense, because I think about, okay, we all know I work at night and I'll have Netflix on, and how dare Netflix come up with a message every once in a while that says, are you still watching? Yeah. And I'm like, I'm all hostile about it. Like, yeah, I'm still watching. Like, who cares? You know what I mean?
Why didn't you get rid of this when COVID started, people? Like,
right.
But I mean, a funny way of relating to that. I can totally understand the difference there.
Mhm.
And even in my little, funny joke here, yeah, when Netflix asks me if I'm still watching, I'm like, yeah, I don't know. Does that make sense?
It totally makes sense.
So, and that's the thing. That's why, in fact, for me personally, I'm continuing my learning. Like, yeah, I'm a certified crochet coach. So I can teach you a ton, but that doesn't mean I know everything, because there are actually so many stitches out there that are still coming out, new techniques that are coming out. I'm always constantly learning. And so one of the ways that I do that, so this is actually a really awesome tip for those of you who are crocheters already and you're just kind of getting bored with some things. If you want to liven it up, go find a designer and ask to be a pattern tester, because that's part of the business of being a pattern author. Is before you publish something, you have to have it tested. You have to make sure that the math adds up. You have to make sure that the language makes sense, and that the person who purchases your pattern can actually make the thing. And so that's what I do, is I test for other designers. So one, the perk there is I get the pattern. And the second thing is I'm learning new techniques. I recently started learning how to create crochet clothing. That was one of my go-to, my crochet bucket list things. And so I'm learning new skills. I'm learning ways of how it's actually put together. And it's really super exciting. Plus I get to see what's coming out in the industry before it comes out. And I'm just like, I'm in front. I see what's coming on. And
That's awesome.
Love it.
You need to do a crochet fashion show for all of your peeps that make stuff. That would be so fun.
That would be really fun. I have to wait because the designer that I'm working with right now, I am actually contractually locked into not showing anything before her books are published. So I can't.
That's all right. Maybe later. It would be fun though. I love
When the
fashion
book comes out, that would be a great thing.
There you go.
There is
Launch it with a huge fashion show.
Oh my
That'd
gosh,
be so fun.
trust me, you guys are going to be blown away, because as soon as the book is published, like the first one I helped with that's being published this year, I'm literally going to be posting like 8 pictures, and they're all going to be like me modeling. And I'm like, I love this top. I'm so excited.
Oh, that's
Love it.
awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, continuously learning and doing harder patterns and things is also going to give your brain a pattern interrupt. So it will help in the long run. So that's part of the reason why I'm like, yes, Beth, let's do this. Let's get you beyond the beginner level.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And she circles it back to that topic again, Beth.
Like, what are we talking about?
Wait, who, me?
Oh.
So what do we want everybody to do, Beth?
Well, we want you guys to go to ideally iTunes, but the podcast platform of your choice. We want you to rate, review, subscribe, and download these episodes. And we need you to download them, not just listen to them. Download actually counts for our listens, but listen does not. So that's such an interesting little thing there. But if you want to just go ahead and leave us a 5-star rating, if you're not going to leave us a 5-star rating, just wait until you love us enough to leave us a 5-star rating. And leave us a review, like something really saucy and entertaining that makes other people want to read it, because we have the crazy, crazy mission of building mommunes all over the United States. Now, a mommune is a commune for moms. Not like a crazy, weird, culty commune, but like an awesome commune where moms who are recently single, for one reason or another, does not matter. It's going to be a space where they can come and they can get a hand up, not a handout, a hand up. They're going to be able to come and live in these mommunes, and they're going to be able to stay there for a period of time without having to worry about rent, without having to worry about the bills that come with that. and they don't have to worry about where they're going to get help for a bunch of different things. So we're going to be pulling together resources, whether people are working on getting over addictions, whether people are struggling with depression, or they're, having a lot of anxiety coming out of a relationship or something. We just want them to know that that we have resources that are going to be able to help them through what they're struggling with, and for those moms to be able to learn to rely on each other. So we cannot do this though until we're able to reach moms all over the country, and we're able to reach the kinds of sponsors that will help us make this happen. And so if you know a sponsor, please have them reach out to us. We would love to be able to start moving forward with this sooner than later. But the little thing that you can do is share these episodes. Share this podcast, leave that review that helps other people to listen, so that they can tap into the resources that we bring here for moms everywhere, so that ultimately in the long run, we can bring lots more resources to moms nationwide who are in this situation. So did I cover it all?
You did amazing, and the wheels are already turning. So yes, so exciting stuff going on. And we're going to be offering, or we want to be offering, resources kind of like what Amanda offers. I mean, a mindset coach. That could be, Amanda, that could be a cool thing for you to tap into, and maybe have a little piece of that too, because we know that you've helped a bunch of women that we know personally, and that this really, really works. So, yeah.
And coming from a childhood of domestic abuse, I would absolutely love, love, love to help out any way that I can.
Awesome. Well, we'll talk offline about it, and I'll catch you guys up on what's been going on, because the wheels are turning. I'm so excited about the whole MOMune thing. I could do a whole episode on it. But anyway, thank you, ladies. Maybe we should. Yeah.
Let's do that. A special episode.
Special episode. Everybody
Sponsored by White Claw.
I think you need to reach out to them and be like, look, I've done product placement for you a whole bunch of times.
So many times.
All right, guys. Well, thank you to the beautiful Amanda for being on with us, and so lovely to see you, Beth, of course.
Good to see you. Thanks, Amanda.
Bye. Thank you for
having me. Bye, guys.